This is Ira, and welcome to Ocean Liners on Print, where we travel through ocean liner history via my collection of ocean liner memorabilia and research. This is your key source for exciting ocean liner content. In this presentation, we will be discussing the Paris of the French line, which entered service in 1921. Let's start out with photos of the ship. The grand staircase area is one of the most opulent rooms ever afloat. Here is the Paris at speed. The scene of the sun deck and the three funnels. The Paris at Le Havre. A fine view of the Paris from another ship sailing a little too close to it. If anyone knows the name of the ship this photo was taken from, please place your comments below. Here's the Paris on a floating dry dock. The Paris is rolling. This photo is from the aft deck facing the windows of the Terrace Cafe. The interior of the Terrace Cafe. Smoking room. A first-class stateroom. It appears to have two bathrooms. That is the height of luxury today. Forget about in 1921. This picture of the Paris looks like it was taken from the West Side Highway in Manhattan. Another angle of the smoking room. The result of the fire which capsized and sank the Paris in 1939. Post-World War II, the wreck of the Paris was still in the harbor as it appears in the upper left part of the picture. The ship in the middle of the picture is the Europa, which was being converted to the French line's Liberté. This picture shows the sunken Liberté, which sank after being pulled loose from its dock during a storm to only be pierced open as it hit the wreck of the Paris. Let's look at a passenger list from the Paris. This passenger list from September 1st, 1926 gives incredible insights into the Paris. This sailing was from Havre to New York, so it was a westbound crossing. The Paris was 36,600 gross registered tons, 788 feet long, with a beam of 86 feet. That meant the Paris was 86 feet in width. She had 45,000 horsepower. So the Paris was an above average size ship for her time, but not a superliner. Quote, the SS Paris is equipped with long-distance wireless telegraph, also with the Bell safety signal, which signals at a certain distance the approach of other vessels and adds to the safety of steamers, especially in case of fog, close quote. The first is especially relevant for the time as the Paris entered service 9 years after the Titanic disaster. The latter was relevant as in 1914, the Empress of Ireland collided with the Storstad in the St. Lawrence Seaway in fog, resulting in the loss of over 1,000 lives. Quote, the hull of the SS Paris is divided into numerous watertight compartments, automatically operated from the bridge in case of danger, close quote. Also relevant post-Titanic. Information Bureau. Quote, radiograms, cablegrams, telegrams, and letters will be received there for dispatch, and no member of the ship's staff other than those on duty at this office are authorized to accept such communications. Passengers are requested to ask for a receipt on the company's form for the telegram. Here, mail will be distributed and postage stamps may be purchased, close quote. So here we have numerous means of people trying to stay connected well before the internet age. Charges collected on board. Quote, passengers are required to ask for a receipt on the company's form for all charges collected on board. Close quote. This was long before the time of the cruise card, where all of your charges would be paid for by cruise card, which would be linked to your credit card. Changes in accommodations. Quote, no change can be made in the accommodation of passengers except officially by the purser. Close quote. Wireless. The steamer is almost always in communication with shore stations or passing steamers. The Information Bureau will give information regarding rates and will receive messages for transmission. Stenographer. Quote, an experienced stenographer is on board whose services are at the disposal of passengers. Rates for this service may be had on application at the Information Bureau. Close quote. I have seen in brochures for ships in the same era about stenography services. Does anybody know why people back then needed stenographers, whereas today you really don't see that service being offered by ships? If anyone knows, if they could please put this in the comment section below. The Tourist Information Bureau. Quote, a Tourist Information Bureau has been established on board the SS Paris and France and is in charge of a competent representative of the Office National du Tourisme. Here, all travel and tourist information may be obtained. Reservations made for hotels, steamer, railroads, and automobiles, and necessary tickets secured. Close quote. Valuables. Quote, both Paris and France are provided with a safe deposit vault, similar to those of a modern bank, which is placed at the disposal of passengers. Individual compartments may be obtained upon payment of $100. Keys of individual compartments are left in charge of travelers during the whole crossing, thus allowing them free to access their valuables whenever they so desire. Therefore, the French line cannot accept any responsibility for loss or damage. Passengers can protect themselves by insurance, which may be obtained by application to the purser's office. Close quote. The France was the older running mate of the Paris. Individual compartments being obtained upon payment of $100, that is a lot of money for 1926. If anyone out there can calculate what $100 in 1926 dollars would be today in our dollars in 2026, please put it in the comments section below. Exchange for money. Quote, for the convenience of passengers, the Information Bureau attendant is prepared to exchange a limited amount of money. Rates will be quoted upon application. Close quote. Recovery of head tax. Quote, all aliens 16 years of age and over are required to pay a U.S. government head tax of $8 at time of purchasing their tickets for the westbound voyage. Children under 16 years, when accompanied by father or mother, are exempt. Aliens in transit through the United States or on a temporary visit not exceeding 60 days can secure refund of this head tax, providing they inform the U.S. immigration inspector on arrival at New York of their intention to leave the U.S. within 60 days and obtain from him Transit Certificate Form 514. This certificate must be signed by the conductor of the train or purser of the vessel on which the passenger leaves the United States and returned to the company's office at 19 State Street, New York City, within 120 days from the date of arrival. Close quote. 19 State Street was in the lower part of the financial district in New York City and Manhattan. This area was concentrated with headquarters of steamship companies, especially in the area near Lower Broadway. So between State Street and Lower Broadway, you had agencies, or shall I say shipping lines, including the French Line, International Mercantile Marine, Cunard, Furnace, White Star, Munson, amongst others. Seats. Quote, children are not entitled to seats in main dining saloon unless full fare is paid. Close quote. Smoking. Quote, passengers are requested not to smoke in the dining rooms, music rooms, library, and staterooms. Close quote. Considering it was 1926, that sounds very progressive for the times. Wines. Quote, wine is served without charge at luncheon and dinner during the voyage. When ordering special wines, champagnes, cordials, aperitifs, etc., passengers are requested to sign cards at the table. Accounts for these will be presented at the end of the voyage by the dining room sergeant to whom payment should be made. Close quote. Once again, the days prior to having a cruise card, today there would be no need to sign cards at the table because of the cruise card. Professional gamblers. Quote, passengers are informed that professional gamblers are reported as frequently crossing on Atlantic steamers and are warned to take precautions accordingly. Close quote. Baths. Quote, passengers will please arrange the hours for their baths with the bathroom steward or stewardess. Close quote. This is probably for second or third class or below passengers who do not have private bathroom facilities in their cabin. Berth ladders. Quote, these may be obtained on application to the steward or stewardess. Close quote. Berth ladders are ladders that help you get to the top Pullman or bunk in your cabin. Medical attention. Quote, the ship's doctor is at the disposal of passengers requiring his professional services for which no charge is made. In all cases, medicine will be furnished free by the company when prescribed by the doctor. Close quote. That's a far cry from today, where the doctor, or shall I say the hospital on board, is run by a separate corporation and they charge for everything. Anyone who's considering going on a cruise, I highly recommend obtaining the medical insurance for on board the ship. My wife and I were on a cruise last year, and my wife got sick, and the hospital bill was $8,000, and the insurance picked up the entire cost. Barber. Quote, the barber is also allowed the privilege of selling various articles. Close quote. I wonder what kind of articles the barber could be selling. Dogs. Quote, dogs will be carried at the owner's risk in the kennel, and tickets for them should be obtained at the time of securing passenger's own ticket. In instances where this has not been done, the purser is authorized to collect the charges. Dogs to be landed in England require a special license from the Secretary of Agriculture in London. Without such license, they will not be received on board the ship. There is no restriction as to the landing of dogs in France. Close quote. Cleaning of shoes. Quote, shoes left outside the cabin doors in the evening will be cleaned free of charge. However, the French line accepts no responsibility for thefts resulting from passengers taking advantage of this service. Close quote. So this is awesome, the fact that this service is provided free of charge. But could you imagine someone leaving their shoes overnight outside their cabin and someone in the middle of the night goes up and down the hallway stealing people's shoes? Deck games and amusements. Quote, golf, croquet, bullboard, shuffleboard, deck quoits, tonneau, and other games are provided on deck and may be had from the deck steward on application. Chess, mahjong, checkers, dominoes, jocks, etc. can be obtained by application to the lounge or smoking room stewards. Close quote. It seems like in the 1920s, entertainment was much simpler than it is today. Movie shows, quote, series of kinematograph shows are given every day on board. The orchestra is playing during the shows, close quote. So this was 1926. We were still in the era of silent films. So when silent films were played, to enhance the experience, live orchestras would play. So this was an extra added bonus when taking the Paris. Library, quote, passengers are urged in the interest of their fellow passengers not to delay in returning books to the library after they have been read. The full value of lost or damaged books must be paid by the borrower, close quote. I would find that hard to enforce without having a cruise card. Children's playroom and photographic darkroom. Quote, a playroom has been provided for children forward on B deck. A Punch and Judy show, Guignol, is presented here each day at 3 p.m. The Guignol attendant has charge of the photographic darkroom for any work on plates, films, and prints for passengers. Close quote. It's obvious that children's entertainment was a lot different 100 years ago. What I find impressive is having a photographic darkroom which people can develop their photographs, which will be memories of their trip. And now for a brochure from 1928, French Line second-class fares, highlighting the Paris, the France, and the Ile-de-France. Here, of course, is a picture of the Paris, followed by second-class outside cabin for 2, and a second-class cabin for 4. Note the berth ladder. It's for climbing up to the upper berth, not for giving birth. The dining room, main saloon, smoking room, and part of the covered deck. Rates for transatlantic was $152.50 up to $185 per person. If anyone can translate that to $2,026, please enter your response in the comments section below. Is a Depression-era advertisement for the Paris. Quote, make winter work for you and save money on the Aristocrat cruises to the Bright Africa, Sahara, Riviera, and Corsica. Shoulder deep in French Line luxury on the Paris. Close quote. The reason why the cruises were called Aristocrat cruises was that the Paris had the nickname as, quote, the aristocrat of the seas, close quote. Quote, brilliant land cruises on the Barbary coast, superb roads and hotels, close quote. Whenever I hear about the Barbary coast, I can't help but think about the scene on the movie Airplane where there was a reference to a bar called Drambuie on the Barbary coast. The ad concludes, quote, Old General Depression will not be allowed up the gangplank. These cruises are planned to make time, which all the economies say is the cure, really go to work for you, close quote. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. What did you enjoy most? The Paris being referred to as the aristocrat of the seas. Berth ladders. Safety cues taken from the Titanic and Empress of Ireland disasters. Old General Depression. Orchestra accompanying silent films. Free medical care. Professional gamblers. Free wine. Head tax. Please place your comments in the comments box below. Remember to hit the subscribe button to receive the latest exciting Ocean Liner content. Thank you from Ocean Liners on Print.